by a Guild Wars 2 podcast, bringing you the latest in the battle for Tyria. This is The Siege. Prepare for battle.
And you have entered The Siege, a podcast dedicated to Guild Wars 2. Well, welcome everybody. This is our first ever show, and we are exceptionally excited to be involved with Guild Wars 2 and supporting it. So this week, we have got a whole bunch of stuff we want to talk about. First things first, obviously, we'd sure like to let you get to know who we are. So let's go ahead and start off by just introducing everybody that's going to be involved in this show. Starting us off today, we have our Master of PvE. He is Great.
Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Hello. He is our Master of Lore. He is Cash.
What if they're listening in the morning? Is it still a good afternoon?
Yes, it is.
It could be.
Yes.
Okay.
It's afternoon somewhere, isn't it? He is our Master of Role-Playing. We're not sure if he's even being his true self now. He is Parasite.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening.
Nice. Way to cover all bases. He is the grandfather of all MMO players, the man who's played more MMOs than Jesus himself. He is Surtas.
Konnichiwa.
He is our Master of PvP. He is Denver Drew.
I said good day, sir.
She is our Femme Fatale. She is Tara.
How are you, listener? Don't answer that right away.
He is our Master of Community. He is Oakley.
Good evening.
Last but not least, he is the lead writer for the mogradio.com. This is Kalindo.
I like big hats and I cannot lie.
There it is, and you got a big furry one on in your picture right now. Fantastic. Want to go ahead and apologize to everybody that the live feed is not up for this show. Our live feed will be up starting next week. So, let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk a little bit about the show. The show this week's pretty simple. We're going to break down an article that Kotaku brought up, and we're going to talk a lot about our experiences in the beta events and ask ourselves, is Arenanet accomplishing everything they're advertising? Also this week, we're going to talk about what are the character classes and races we're most interested in playing right now. And last but not least, is it worth grinding Guild Wars 1 for the Hall of Monuments so you can get a lot of swag in Guild Wars 2. We're going to debate that and discuss it, all that coming up on this show. So, that was the cast. This is the show. The Siege starts right now. Call this segment The Portal, where we bring you all the greatest news about Guild Wars 2, whether it be come from devs or come from journalistas. So, this week what we want to talk a lot about is, of course, beta weekends. But everybody's been talking about beta weekends, so what we wanted to do is we wanted to go ahead and structure the conversation in another direction. Just this last week, there was a really great article on Kotaku that talked about the 4 core concepts that Guild Wars is built upon. So what we wanted to do is we want to go through these 4 core concepts that Arenanet is advertising out to all of us as players, that this is what Guild Wars 2 is all about. And we're going to talk about from our experiences in the beta event weekends. Have we experienced this yet? How are they doing in these certain areas, and kind of discuss that a little bit further. Now, some of our cast members have not played the game yet. which is funny. So they're always going to be encouraged to ask questions during this segment, and we'll have a lot of fun. So here we go. So the article in Kotaku kind of really talked a lot about combat in the game, and I just kind of want to just kind of throw it up and out there real quick. I guess, actually, Grace, would you just kind of explain the combat system in Guild Wars 2 real quick while we're getting started?
Well, the combat system works more like a dodge and avoid to not take damage, and you can continuously cast or attack while you move. So it's more of a FPS style type of combat system where if you're throwing grenades and dodging away from them, that'd probably be one of the best ways to work it. In amongst all of it, there's less damaging spells, so you can take less damage, hit heavy things, heal up, and then different skill-based system. That's basically it in a nutshell. And you have endurance to help do your dodges so that you can roll out of the way real quick. So you always gotta monitor that as well.
Kind of a lively system, isn't it?
It's definitely very lively and keeps you on your toes.
It definitely does. Another really big part of the system is the fact that I believe each weapon has its own set of skills that come with your character class and your player. Denver, can you kind of describe a little bit about that for us?
Well, you mean the primary and offhand stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So essentially, what happens is you have got 5 slots in your little bar, and depending on what your character class is and what weapon you equip, it gives you all different skills. So if you have, let's say, a main hand sword and an offhand shield, it's going to give you the first 2 slots are based on your primary weapon, and the last 2 slots are based on your secondary weapon. The one in the middle, number 3, is based on the combination of those 2. So you take that shield off and you put something else on, then the last 3 are going to change. The combined one will change to whatever it is that you can do with both of those weapons, and the last 2 will change to whatever you can do with your offhand weapon. It's a really slick system. It takes a little bit of time for you to unlock those skills. You have to kill a certain amount of enemies before you unlock number 2, and then number 3, and then number 4, and then number 5. Mm-hmm. And as you change whatever the weapon is, you have to unlock those again. You'll have to unlock 3, 4, and 5 because it'll be a different combination. It's pretty slick.
Right, and let alone if we get into the like the Elementalist class that has different schools of magic.
Correct.
Then for each combination, you've got 4 different schools of magic to unlock for that as well.
Yeah, that is correct. And it is very, very long and very drawn out, I believe, what we're going to end up seeing with those. But I think with classes like that, you will see people say, okay, this is the weapon that I want to go with. Weapon doesn't make any difference. All I'm concerned about is putting out as much magic damage as possible. So I'm going to go with the 2-handed staff, and that's the only thing you're going to see me have on. Or you'll have a long range and a short range. Here's, dual daggers for short range and then a staff for long range stuff. So, but very interesting.
So here we go. We've got this combat system that is really kind of twitchy, I guess, if we really want to be honest about it. It requires us to actually be active and dodge, let alone it is dependent upon the combinations of weapons. So let's talk about it in practice a little bit. Tara, how did you feel about this combat system when you've been in the weekend beta events so far?
It started out, I liked how, I equipped those dual pistols with my engineer. And I was getting those up. And I finally got them all. And I was so happy. And then I picked up a rifle. So imagine my surprise, because I hadn't read a whole lot to begin with until I actually fell in love with it, that I just had 1 skill again. And I always thought, I just did all that work. So I put the pistols back on, and lo and behold, I was happy I had my skills right back. So they don't go away permanently. They're just until you work up that weapon type. Mm-hmm. I did eventually end up going back to the rifle just for the long range, and I found some neat little skills that I could do to help my PvP become a little bit more fun.
Yeah, and that's something I found myself doing in the beta event weekends myself, was just literally just trying all these different combinations, with my Elementalist. Double daggers, the scepter and the focus, the dagger and the focus, the staff, just trying every possible combination, just trying to see what all the different abilities are that unlocked and kind of what the strategy I could use with them. And I really got to be honest with you, it is an amazingly deep system. So, Certos, I've got to ask you, have you ever seen a system like this in an MMO?
Kinda. where I've seen, but I can't remember at the MMO. I think it was Horizons, where it was switching classes. And you could build up one class, then go to the next class, build it up, then go to the next one. Like even the crafting classes, you had to build those up, so you had to level those. So it sounds similar to that with what they're doing with Guild Wars 2. I personally have not played any of it, and I've played very little of Guild Wars, so I am in foreign ground here. I'm a noob in this game, so it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, but you played Horizons. Holy crap! Nice pull.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, is there any other game that you haven't played though?
Oh my
Horizons.
The most creative game where nothing happens.
Right.
It's pretty sad that nothing happened with it because I thought it was a really awesome system, and it came out right around the time with what was it, EverQuest. It was it was around the time of EverQuest, so I thought it was an awesome system, but they just never did anything with it.
Well, Horizons is one of those MMOs I like to call great on paper, horrible in practice type of things. Like if you read about Horizons, you're like, oh, everyone should be playing that. Then you play it, and you're like, yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
Just not so much. Cash, what are your thoughts on the combat system? I mean, is Guild Wars really? I mean, is this an immersive combat system? Is this something that you think people are going to be drawn to?
Yeah, I really think they're going to be drawn to it, and I think it's going to draw the PvPers for sure, and it's going to draw a little bit of a different crowd too, maybe because you're pulling people away from, one click and done type of a game. Like there's tons of most MMOs out there are one click and done or button mashers or whatever, but with something like this where it's Twitch and you have to actually block and you have to dodge and everything depends on the speed of your fingers. You're going to draw in a crowd that comes from first-person shooters too, that maybe want to try the fantasy genre. So I think that in itself it brings a little bit more of a stress level, at least for guys like me, because I've pretty much only come from those games where you can chain things and you can macro things and so this will bring a little bit more of the skill out of it. But what I'm really looking forward to is the stuff that you can do in combination with your other group members, because I keep looking at that video where that one class, I don't know if it's a necromancer or what, that drops the fire on the ground and then the rangers behind it just lobbing arrows.
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, hi Boner. That looks so badass. I want to be able to do stuff like that with a full group. I mean, you could literally in some of the PvP stuff where you're doing sieges, if you have a group that works well together in sync and their skills complement each other, you could seriously be a force to be reckoned with. And I think that's what brings out the sandboxy open feel to this game, and that's what I'm excited about.
Absolutely, man. Boy, you said it well, that combo system. And if you really want a good preview of what the combo system's going to look like, get a party of 5 people, just any 5 people, and do some structured PvP against a practice team. You'll see plenty of those going off, and be on the receiving end of them, like myself was. Very pretty effects, though. Very pretty effects. Very frustrating.
Very pretty death.
Very pretty death, pretty much, yeah. But yeah, there is some amazing combos that can go on there, and it seems like it's a pretty limitless system.
Yeah, it does have its limits, unfortunately, because you have to start out with a combo starter and then follow it with a combo finisher. So, like, Elementalist has a nice wall of fire that you can put down right now. It used to be a circle of fire, but I think they changed between the betas. And then
you can do circle of fire on one combo setup, one setup of weapons, and then the wall of fire is another setup of weapons.
Okay, then they changed the starting weapon. Then either way, though, so your wall of fire or circle of fire is your starter, and then you have the Phoenix to throw out there, which is a great finisher. So you have those 2 powers, but then as a Elementalist on your fire spec, you get 3 other powers that don't have anything to do with combos. So it has its limits, but also the amount of abilities out there to use and the way you combine them means that there's hundreds or thousands out there at least of how many different kinds of combos you can do.
It'll look like Diablo 3 with all the fireworks going off once everyone gets this combat system down.
Oh god, in World PvP it does.
Yeah, get out of the ring of fire. No. Ah, bam, bam, bam. It's just like nuclear winter happening right there. Parasite, help me out a little bit. You've been involved in the gaming industry for quite a period of time. A 5-slot combat system with twitchy dodge mechanics, combo systems, and different abilities with the weapons that you hold. Is this going to be enough of a combat system to hold everyone's attention? Seems like those 5 abilities are a little light.
I mean, I at first I kind of felt that way just seeing it. I'm like, okay, this is very different. But I almost think that's what's going to be its saving grace is that we've all been playing MMOs for forever, it seems like. Mm-hmm. And to have something so different, it's refreshing to me. I mean, when I first picked it up, the feeling I got from it is, playing all the Final Fantasies back in the day where you're just going through menu systems, mashing one button. And then you picked up Kingdom Hearts, and you're like, oh, it's similar, but I actually have so much control over my character. And that's what this game feels like. It feels like there's limitations with how they're doing the abilities, but then you get a dodge, you get to control your character in such a different way that it just adds such a different element to it that I think people are just going to really sink their teeth into.
You have to remember, Ivan, that there are a lot of MOBA games out there, which, for those who aren't familiar with the concept of MOBA, it's like there's a game called Dota where it's basically a PvP style setup where there are 3 different lanes where all these little enemies go through, and you're supposed to farm them and kill the enemies, and those sorts of games run with very limited numbers of buttons, no more than Guild Wars 2 seems to, and they don't have the same ability to switch in weapons, so there's a lot less going for it, but those are insanely popular. Insanely. So I don't really think that people are going to... If people aren't getting bored with them, they're certainly not going to get bored with the Guild Wars setup.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point, Kel. I really appreciate that. Oakley, you've been quiet because I know you haven't played the game yet. Listen to all this. Is that an intimidating thought to you, having this new combat system in front of you, or more exciting?
More exciting. I mean, really more exciting. One of the things that did let me down just on a personal basis with Star Wars The Old Republic was its simplicity in the combat system. Most of the classes play the same. It's just, you fire a skill, it does something. You fire another skill, it does something else. Anything where it becomes dynamic, where the same skill can do multiple different things in multiple different situations based on what kind of weapon you're using, who's around you, what they're doing, stuff like that. It's fantastic. More dynamic, the more complex it is, to a point where it's not broken, it is fantastic and wonderful because you're always trying to refine your skill. You're always trying to figure out how to do it better, and hopefully it doesn't turn into a situation where, you're just firing the same rotation every time, because that's the best thing you can do, and that's it, And so that does excite me, and listening to the combat system makes me definitely more interested in wanting to play, and that's really exciting.
Denver, what do you think about this whole combat system in a nutshell? I mean, everybody, just chime in on this. What do you guys think about this combat system in a nutshell right now? I mean, excited about it? Not excited about it? Where are you at?
I'm very excited. I think it looks fantastic. My experiences in the beta give me a lot of confidence in it. I love that you can switch back and forth between 2 different weapon sets and have those different skills go through. And then as you mentioned earlier, I played an Elementalist, and then you're also getting 3 subsets within that. And it was just it's a crazy amount of stuff that you can actually dig into. And I think that when you start realizing that it's not just about the 5 skills that you have equipped, it's about the 5 skills that everybody in your party has equipped, because those combos are really what's going to be the biggest damage dealer and the best part of this game, as far as I can tell. I mean, I know that the first time that we all ran out together and we ran into a combo, and I started doing something, and I was like, what was that? I didn't even know I could do that. It was great.
I'm pretty tough.
I was like, look at that. Hey, I don't want to brag, but I just lit my sword on fire and stabbed that guy. So it was awesome.
I was going to say, I think that could be kind of a double-edged sword for a lot of new players coming into the genre, because
good point.
It is very, it's very intricate, and there's a lot of little different directions that you can take your character, and many different things you can do with all the different classes. So when you look at it at face value and you see how many classes there are to begin with, for veterans of MMOs, that's like Disneyland, because you just go, are you freaking kidding me? The replayability of something like this is crazy. I mean, there will be people playing Guild Wars 2 for a long time just based off the replayability and trying different classes, trying different combos, seeing how each of the classes and combos work in a group setting. But at the same time, they're going to need to make it easy enough for a new player to come in to the genre and pick it up and not be too confused and just go, holy crap, there's way too much to know, way too much to read, way too much to do to min-max my character. And I think that's something that they're going to have to master if they want to try and pick up, a larger target audience. But for people like us that have played tons of MMOs, I mean, it literally is like a wonderland for us.
I think there is kind of an accessibility to this, though. I mean, the more I played it, because it was a new system to all of us. Now, granted, we've all played games for quite a while now, and when we were told, like, hey, here's a new mechanic, we're like, well, let's play with that for a little while, and have some fun. But Grace, help me out here. I mean, do you think this is accessible enough for a new player to come in and at least be, I guess, inspired to master this system?
I think it's completely acceptable for a new player, and you want to know the one word that makes it that way?
Go.
Free.
Yeah.
It's simply the cost of the game, and that's it. And that's what parents love. That's what gamers love in general. They don't like the recurring fees. Now, mind you, I can go either way, but I really do, like the fact that this one's is gonna bring in a huge amount of people. Now, whether it brings in quality people or not is a totally different argument, because that's one that's raged between gamers and other people for a long time. But it's definitely going to bring in a lot of people. It's going to make it accessible for a ton of different types of people.
Absolutely. Parasite, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I really like how they're doing the ability system. I mean, everybody knows traditional MMOs. It's like, okay, I'm waiting till I get to level 10 for this ability, but the way that you are actually unlocking stuff with your level as well as by weapon, and you're just seeing with all your kills, you see that little colorization of your ability come up. It's just so
kind of exciting.
Yeah, just because it's different. It's you can kind of see, well, shoot, I'll just stay here and grind for a little bit till I get this ability. And so it's just kind of neat of not just waiting for your next level to ding so you can get a new ability. There's so many different ways to upgrade your character, and it's new, and I like new.
It is new. And Tara, close us up on this before we move on to our next topic of PvP. But Tara, what about the role flexibility the combat system involves? I mean, is that a big factor into this, where like I as an elementalist can be a damage dealer and a healer at the same time, or within the same?
It's
area?
huge, and even they've stated that even a thief could be a tank if they wanted to, just because of how quick they are. So, and I enjoyed that with my engineer. I was healing and I was doing damage. So I was doing multitasking, which is what I love about the engineer.
Yeah, well, it seems like a lot of every class has got its own little multitasking ability to it, and it seems really interesting to me that here I am as an elementalist. I can back up, and I know Grace has done this with his elementalist in game a lot. It's backed up, got the water on, started healing everybody, rocking that out with the healing rain, I'm guessing, with the staff equipped.
Oh, yes.
I have seen engineers go from those little mayhem creators putting down their little gun pods and stuff, go straight into like rifles and almost be like a sniper, just sitting up on a wall, just taking people out from a distance. It's amazing to me to see all the flexibility within each character class, and it just and to see how I could constantly just change roles on the fly, and it's almost a non-issue, depending on what the combat or what the situation depends on.
It's Absolutely. It feels to me like they remembered what happened in early World of Warcraft, where you had like drain tank warlocks and stuff like that, and they went, well, Blizzard looked at that and said, no, that's broken. We want to look at that and go, no, that's what you should be able to do. Why not?
Right.
Exactly.
That's awesome. That's awesome that they took that approach. They're like, well, why the hell not? The guy's got magic. He can suck life out of him. Why can't he be the tank? And I think that is so sweet because you do see exactly what you're talking about, all of this flexibility through all these different character classes, and I like that you're not stuck in one role. That you're not. It's not like, oh my god, we got to wait for a tank, because it's always the bane. There's never a tank around when you need one. Oh, we got the tank. Oh, now we don't have a healer. There's damage abundant. There's never a tank or a healer when you need one. So it's nice that everybody can kind of step into that role, and that, you know, it really doesn't matter what you're doing. You've got the ability to take down big stuff as long as you have the right number of people.
Yeah, and it's just creepy. The concepts that Arenanet is introducing in Guild Wars 2, and this is funny because I'll go ahead and forewarn everybody. Guild Wars 1 doesn't have any of this. It's got none of it. And it is amazing to see how they basically just said, hey, Guild Wars 1, that was a really good game. We're just going to go ahead and throw all that away real quick and start all over from scratch and rebuild it and break. And they're breaking a lot of rules here, wouldn't you say? Or they're at least throwing away a lot of the standard conventions that we've been seeing in a lot of even new MMOs that have been coming out.
Yeah. I mean, definitely coming from Guild Wars 1 to this, it was shocking to me when I first started playing it, because playing Guild Wars 1, it's pretty standard MMO, and I figured going the free-to-play route again, they would just kind of beef up the graphics, modernize it, but they did a complete overhaul, and I couldn't be happier.
So we thought this week we'd talk a little bit about what races and classes are really most appealing to us, and what we're really going to be playing as mains before the game launches. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of what you can expect, and see if like maybe some of the classes we want to play are going to mirror yours as well. So that way, you know, we can all kind of share our common experiences. So let's just kind of go around the room a little bit. Denver, what's really going to be your choice, I think, right now, right off the bat?
Well, I'm actually having trouble deciding, to be completely honest. Okay. I've played a lot of different stuff between the 3 betas, and my goodness, there's so much to choose from. Do you choose the Elementalist that can blow things up very quickly? Do you go with what I'm kind of leaning towards, which is a Guardian, which looks just fantastic? Buffs, debuffs, annoying as possible. That's exciting. The Thief, which I just have talked to a couple of people that played in the 3rd beta, and they fixed the damage on the Thief, which was always kind of the issue in the first and second betas. But kind of a stealth mechanic. You can move around, you can run. I don't know, man. I'll tell you that I'm going to play an Asura. That's for sure. No question, that's going to be my race. But
something about a character that looks like a cross between a Mogwai and Yoda that's appealing.
Look, I've always wanted a house elf, and I might as well play one.
There it is.
It's a rabbit. It's a rabbit with a fat face.
I love it, Denver.
Nice.
Great. I'm really interested to hear what you want to play.
Believe it or not, I am going to be playing an Elementalist with more of a focus on healing than anything else.
That's really weird for you.
Not really. If you've known me before this, it really isn't, because I come from World of Warcraft, where I was one of the best healers in our guild. So it's not.
You say.
It's not really a. It's not really a huge difference for me. I usually prefer tanking or healing, because I don't usually like standing there and shooting things and that's it. I like being a little bit more in control of the raid.
Dude, I would have picked you for either a warrior or for a engineer with your trooperisms.
Yeah, I fool a lot of people on that stuff.
Got me.
Interesting. I love it. Cash, what do you think about getting into?
I am going to, for sure. Actually, I just made a decision on one this morning just because of the badassery of what it looks like. But Sylvari Ranger, for sure. That will probably be my main. And then I'm going to be playing an Azura Necromancer. I just went through all the videos of these skills for the Necromancer, and boner. So I'm in.
So you're going Necro, huh?
Yep.
Have fun with that. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Cash always likes going Necro. Didn't you know that about him?
Well, okay, we're moving on from that real quick. Parasite, what are you thinking about playing right now?
I am definitely going to be, after the beta, a Asura Engineer. It was so much fun. I tried out so many different classes, but that one was, I just had so much fun with it. Those little turrets are awesome.
Cool. I love it. Tara, how about you?
You know, I really liked the look of the human engineer. I just don't know if I'll be able to make it through those quests. So I did try out a bit of the Norn Guardian, So, who says a Norn can't be an engineer? Who says? Who says?
No one in Arenanet said that.
Exactly.
Because they're all about it. They would love you to have a Norn, a giant engineer.
That's what I'm going to do.
I love it. That's a great idea. I love it. Oakley, what are you thinking right off the top of your head?
Well, a couple of things. I like the way that the char look. I mean, they're just they're bloody cool. I probably a lot of people are going to play them, but
how British of you, bloody cool.
Definitely the ranger seems interesting for sure, and the thief as well. Which class uses the firearms?
The engineer.
That's engineer. Engineer. Doesn't the warrior uses them too, don't they?
And so does the thief.
Yep.
You can dual wield as a thief.
Okay.
Pistols.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thief or ranger, human, just because I've always liked playing humans. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm playing around with right now in my head.
Nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Certas, what are you thinking about?
I really don't know the races, but it sounds like you could be a giant.
Yes.
Okay, so in homage to Scrubs, I'm going to make maybe the world's most giant doctor. So maybe I'll pick a giant and focus on healing, which would be new for me to be a healer. Normally, I don't care about my other players enough to heal them. So
you should make a giant mesmer because that would be funny.
What's the mesmer do?
They're crowd control.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but in your offhand, you can hold a Chipotle burrito.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, baby.
I do want to point out, though, that the reason I like playing a healer mainly is because I hate everybody, so now I hold their life in my hands.
Yeah.
So
well, it sounds like a sound plan, and I think I'm going to adopt it.
I love it. That's great. You guys are just bizarre. You guys
that's why you have us around.
Yes, it is.
This is true. This is absolutely true.
But I am thinking that the elementalist, it sounds like you cause giant explosions, and so I think that might be something that I'll play as
Big
well.
boom. For me, I'm really torn right now. I can't decide whether I want to play a Guardian because I look at the Guardian class, and I have to say it's probably the coolest tank class I've ever seen in a game. It really is, just because of all the weird abilities you get with it.
Yeah, I messed around with the Guardian, and I was quite pleased with how they played.
Yeah.
I didn't want to grab it myself, but I can definitely see it versus playing a warrior for a tank.
Yeah, the Guardian just looks like a lot of fun. I played it for a little while and really had a lot of fun with it. Or the Elementalist. I mean, I have a feeling the Elementalist is going to be one of those really big classes in this game.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with you there.
I think it's going to be. They're going to see a lot of robed people running around, and I have a feeling that there's going to be some maybe not necessarily a distinct lack of it, but probably a lower population of people carrying the old sword and board, and I just might have to take up that calling. So that's what I'm thinking. I think race wise, yeah, I'm with Denver. I got to do an Ashura, man. Those guys just are a trip.
Yeah.
And I love their starting world. But I also love the Sylvari starting world. I think that's a great one. And I've heard nothing but great things about the Norn starting world. So now I'm all confused. I'll never play a Char because they run on all fours, and I just find that to be annoying.
Agreed with that. I tried one.
Okay, cool.
They looked awesome. I was all excited with the character creator, but then I got into game and it was running on all fours, and it really threw me off.
I got lost
didn't
in
do it
their
for me.
homeworld starting, the big city. I was like, there's no way. No way.
I'm out. No Char for me. But, for those of you guys who play Char, absolutely go right ahead and enjoy your quadruped running. So that should be a lot of fun for you, I guess, at least. So with that, that's kind of what we're going to be playing right now. So I guess nothing really sounds like nothing set in stone. Last but not least, though, Kel, what are you going to be playing in the game?
I have no clue at all. I have never played a Guild Wars game. I have not been able to get into the beta despite my trying. Yep. So, frankly, I haven't the first clue. So, I'm going to put it in the hands of you, the listeners. I don't know what to play. I have no idea. For preference, I like ranged combat, but we're gonna put up a poll on the Mog Nation website.
Yep.
And whatever you guys decide, I'll play. Whatever class and race combo, anything, it's all up there. If you're really nice, you'll let me play a ranged. If you're mean and you hate me like greats, you'll pick a melee.
Yeah, but I hate everyone, so it's not really a huge thing. But
Yeah,
I would
okay.
definitely make you play a warrior.
You know what? Let's have some fun with this. Cash, what do you think? You want to have some fun with this?
I always like to have fun. You tell me
Okay,
what
Cash,
to do, and I'm going to do it.
All right, Cash, we're going to be putting this forum post up at the Mog Nation portal site, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so can you direct us how to get there?
Absolutely. It's going to be www.mog-nation.com.
What Mog Nation is our little gaming community where people are welcome to come join us, hang out with us a little bit. We have a few guilds that are part of the nation, and we all just kind of game together. It's a fun community of people. And if you don't have a guild and you're looking for one for Guild Wars 2, we've got a couple to choose from. You'll be able to meet those next week. So what we're going to ask you to do is, if you'd like to come in and just have fun with this one, go ahead and come in and vote for your combo. Now, what we would ask you to do after that is to put a forum post after it with the combo that you chose for Kel. Here's why. When we get through the voting, the winning votes, everybody who's had that, we're going to put you into a hat for a drawing for a free t-shirt from Typefrag that is just, it's sweet. It's got winner, winner, chicken dinner right on the front of it. So we'll put a little swag into it. What do you think?
I love
Sounds awesome.
A little
think it
swag
tastes
is always
delicious.
good.
I just want
Put
to
a
make
little-
a little correction because
Okay.
you mentioned that the Mog Nation is a little community.
Yeah.
We are growing really quickly.
And we're always
Yeah.
open. You know, we're always looking for new people to come join us. If you'd like to come join a fun group of kind of, I would say, kind of mature gamers. I don't know how to really put us. We're a pretty fun group, like to have a good time, don't take ourselves too seriously. Come on over to www.mog-nation.com. That'll be our portal site for the community. And feel free to come join us, post on the forums a little bit, and hang out in the chat room with us. We always are having a good time. So with that, let's go.
We are maturely immature.
Let's move on. Let's talk about their second pillar. They talk about PvP. That, you know, obviously the game is called Guild Wars, so you better have some freaking PvP in there. They said that they've considered PvP combat as important as well, especially in a game, you know, to help lure. They want to put a system together that would help lure less competitive players, and by leveling the playing field in PvP. So let's start world PvP first. Let's move into structured PvP second. And let's just kind of talk about, you know, are these guys really selling the PvP here in an accessible way? So, you know, I want to go to Cash, or actually, no, I'm sorry, Cash. I want to go to Denver here real quick. Denver, can you explain the structured PvP real quick and kind of what kind of the perks are with that?
Yeah, the structured PvP stuff is going to be more of what people that have been playing PvP for a long time are used to. It's a objective-based 3-point, you know, take them and hold them kind of a game. And there's all sorts of different places, but all sorts of different maps that you can play in, you know, cities and in the country and all this other kind of stuff. But what they've done is they've added in more things that you can manipulate while you're in there. There's trebuchets that you can fire up and they start taking out other points and start killing people from there. There are, you know, little arrow guns that you can set up and all sorts of different fun toys that you can play with. And it's really going to be based around what can your team do. So it's possible, again, based on what we have already talked about here with the sculptability of your character, you can make your character into somebody that is a defender, that sets down traps and just starts blowing stuff up as it's coming through, you know, like a choke point or coming over a specific ridge. You can hold off 2 or 3 people maybe coming to try to take a point to give the rest of your team time to flank around and open up another front and stuff like that. I mean, there's all sorts of great things it looks like in structured PvP. And the nice thing about it is you are ramped up to level 80. What they decided in this game was we don't want it to be a situation where you just have the best gear and you have the most skills, so you're going to win. We want it to be your skill as a group, not as an individual player even, as a group. We want your skill to be what defines our PvP, and I think that is brilliant.
And they even wear you even all wear the same equipment.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, I apologize. I didn't mention that. Yes, it's everything. Everything. You are on a dead even playing field. So are you better at your class? You really want to find out? Why don't you step into structured PvP? Let's see if you're good as a group as you think you are. Because you watch, this is all skill based, and you're going to see the cream will rise very quickly when you don't have any gear to lean on. Because there's a lot of other games where there are teams that they've just been playing together for a while. And I honestly don't even believe that their tactics are that great, but they have the best gear in the game. You can't screw with it. You can't hit them hard enough to do any damage, and your stuff is tissue paper. You're coming, as Cash always says, in the white wedding dress, and you're just getting torn apart. So this is a beautiful, beautiful thing in my mind, and I cannot wait to sink my teeth into it.
Yeah, structured PvP seems accessible. I don't know. Let me ask though. Is this going to be a system, and this goes out to anybody who wants to answer, is this going to be a system that's going to attract new players, or is it going to scare them away?
I think the PvP aspect is definitely going to attract new players, especially for the structure, because that's how I always feel when I'm going into PvP. I got some of the worst gear, some of the lowest, so why should I even bother? Because I'm just going to get rolled. So for me to catch up to them, it's going to take me, maybe it took them 10 hours to get there. It's going to take me 50 because I got to fight people like them.
Right.
And so it just makes it a ton more accessible for, people like me that don't like PvP that much. And then you get into all the other aspects of PvP that you got that make it even more accessible and even more fun.
But it seems to me, though, Grace, somehow Arenanet has removed everything you hated about PvP.
Exactly. And that's why I find it funny, and
it's like they called you and said, "Grace, what do you hate about PvP?"
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're probably going to see me doing a lot more PvP than a rating in this one.
It's the Grace system of PvP.
It is. It really is. I swear to God, they didn't call me except those few times that they did.
Right.
And folks, you are hearing this first. You're hearing it here on this podcast first. Go back and listen to all the other podcasts we've done. Greats hates PvP.
Yeah.
Hates it.
Despises PvP. I couldn't get him to go into one match with me. He was like, "This is stupid, and I'm not doing it." And I said, "Okay."
It's very,
That's
very
exactly
true.
what he said, too. This is stupid, and I'm not doing it.
It's very true, and that's how I feel about a lot of MMOs PvP, or a lot of games that work like MMOs. And with this one, I don't feel that way. I feel like it's going to be a lot better because I can actually start using, all the skills that I've had in raiding. Mind you, yes, I do know there's difference between raiding and PvP, and that you're fighting players. I do understand that, and I do have those abilities as well. But I always feel like I'm outranked in gear because my focus has always been on raiding.
Yeah,
I think I figured out what Greats' Shangri-La would be. If you put PvP in Minecraft, he'd crap himself.
Sorry, Cash. They already have that.
Yep.
Oh, so
gross.
I guess he's already crapped himself then. Fantastic.
There's Hunger Games.
Oh, gross.
Oakley, I know you're not a huge fan of PvP either, but does that structured route seem kind of interesting to you, at least where everyone's on a balanced playing field and it's just pure tactics at that point in time?
Well, it's kind of funny. What Denver just described was the first time I'm hearing this information. Yeah. And I'm pretty much at the same place Greats is now. I've done quite a bit of PvP in a lot of MMOs that I've played, so I'm a little bit more open-hearted than he is. But I still have the same feelings that he does on PvP. All the points that he brought up. This sounds fantastic because if everyone is just right on the same line as far as gear goes, everyone has the same tools to work with. Who the hell's better? Who is better at the keyboard and the mouse? It's not, it's not the stats that, are deciding that battle. It's what you're doing at your computer. I love it. That makes me really excited.
Yeah, I think that, and I actually had a chance in the beta event weekend to go in, and I got hurt. My feelings got hurt, to me, more appropriate. I mean, I think I really ended up in a fetal position in the corner of a room because, we got rolled so bad. You really want to go in there with a group of friends and learn, because that was a cool thing, though. As I played, there were learning moments there where I saw these guys do this tactic. I'm like, oh, we can do that tactic next round. And I love the maps, the arenas, if you will, of the structured PvP, because like Denver said, there's so much to do with it. There's so much to tweak and move around, and you can get behind something and fire up a trebuchet, and next thing you know, you got 3 players dead. It's just absolutely hilarious how you can just manipulate the environment. So it's not only your tactics as a team, but it's how you can manipulate the environment, which is like literally can change the game in like 30 seconds. Like you could be getting rolled and then somebody gets on the trebuchet and it's like, nope, looks like we're on a comeback, boys. It's absolutely amazing. So let's move into World PvP a little bit too. Parasite, can you talk to us a little bit about World PvP?
Unfortunately, I can't because I was queuing up during the beta and it was not letting me through.
Broken. Yeah, there was a little bug there in the last beta event that really didn't go well. Tara, I know you can. Talk to us a little about World PvP.
As I've thought about it, it's just on an epic scale because people from 3 different servers all coming together, and it doesn't matter if you're grouped or not. You're in a way you can help each other, and I love that. I love the feeling of just running towards a keep with a big mob of people that I've never played with before, and everyone's helping each other, rezzing each other, laying down, healing turrets and things like that. And the fact that the people who are guarding the keep can set up pots of boiling oil and just crazy stuff like that. People outside building siege engines and to go and knock those walls down. And I tell you, the first time you see a wall come down, it I don't know about you, but my breath got caught for a little bit because I was just so like, that is cool.
It's absolutely amazing. Grace, finish out the description of World PvP because I want to make sure everyone gets. There's 4 maps, right?
There are 4 different maps on each area. They're just amazing. I don't think you can
they're huge.
say any more than that. They are simply huge. The amount of people that can be fighting in them when it's working is really good. It gives me everything that I like about large-scale PvP battles, and that's traditionally what I've always said is, not really enjoying the structured PvP that much on any MMO, but give me those large, epic-scale battles. Battle for Ilum, great concept. Loved when it first came out, except for all the lag. World of Warcraft, Crossroads, and Tarn Mill, the old vanilla battles, where you just all of a sudden get 50 Horde and 50 Alliance, you'd all just battle it out. Those are the kind of epic PvP battles I love, and Guild Wars 2 has those in their World PvP. And especially for the fact that there's now huge objectives, there's things to take over, there's benefits for taking them over. That's where you're going to find me most of the time.
Isn't this a fun dichotomy, Certas? I mean, there's kind of two coins to this PvP in this world, and I love hearing about this. I want to hear your comments on it. You've got structured PvP where people on the same server will be fighting against one another, but then again, we all come together as one big group in World PvP to fight alongside each other. What's this going to do for community building?
It's going to make community building. It's really going to change how the community is built because, again, you have all of these different dynamics. You can go and play in this area that's caged in and do your PvP, or you could just be out running around like in Rift, for instance, and something jumps off and you're like, oh, well, no one's else here to be the hero. I'll jump in and I'll help. Then a mass of players come out of nowhere and just start attacking. And it's amazing, just the videos I've watched and just hear you guys talk about it. I'll say this. I just put my money where my mouth is. I had pre-ordered the game at GameStop for $5. Yeah, I just purchased it. While we were talking, I went ahead, purchased the game, linked it to my Guild Wars account. Okay? I was kind of excited about the game, but hearing it really in this podcast, just hearing you guys talk about it, I'm like, I could do what? Really?
Yeah,
That's not fair. That doesn't sound... No.
This is better than Horizons?
Yes. I mean, but even Horizons is like I'm listening as you guys are talking about features. I'm like, okay, that comes from Horizons. Okay, that comes from Rift. Okay, that's a little bit of WoW. That's they talk about story. I don't know how good it is, but that sounds like
we'll get to that.
No Republic. So I'm just ticking off games like, okay, these guys are actually listening. They're doing something that competitors do but really don't do. These guys really listened, it sounds like, to everybody and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is our game. Yeah. And they're unapologetic about it, like Eve. This is our game. You're going to like it or you're not. And get in here and play, try it out. As a matter of fact, we're so confident our game is good that we're going to let you buy the client. You don't pay us another dime and watch the money roll in. That's how confident we are. That's a confidence that we don't need your subscription. We don't need your monthly fee. We're going to let you buy the client, play the game, and then you're going to rave about how good this is. And that makes me comfortable.
Well, and I think really, the community building on that World v. World thing is going to be absolutely amazing. Seeing all these guilds come together, because we'll get into this a little bit later. But at our show, we're actually supported by 2 different guilds, and that we'll be talking about them a little bit later, and also about our gaming community, Mog Nation. But I am excited about just the aspect of getting 2, 3, 4 guilds together, coordinated together on multiple different maps, multiple different fronts, striking things at the same time. I mean, an organized server will just mop up in World v. World, but it'll be amazing to watch it happen.
What I really love about the World v. World is your servers aren't set in stone. So say our server's the best server against the other 2 that we're paired with at the start. I mean, there's absolutely no comparison. We mop the floor every time with them. Well, those servers are going to start feeling a little bad, and their population may start to switch because it's horrible. There's no point in switching population because after 2 or 4 weeks, they keep changing it. The server is going to switch their world versus world matchups. So we're ranked really high. We're going to go against other really high ranked ones, and the other 2 that are ranked lower are going to go against lower. So now they'll have a chance again. So it's completely dynamic. It's never the same. You never have to worry about if you're a losing server. You never have to worry about always losing because you have the chance to win.
Well, and that's the cool thing I think about World v. World. Isn't it every 3 months? They said every 12 weeks they were going to switch. Denver, is that what I remember right?
Yes, I believe so. And
it's like every 12 weeks.
I'm sorry, I have to stop this real quick. Did you see how excited Greats just got about PvP? I'm sorry. It's literally it's hurting my head.
Let's get a good picture in our head about this. Let's imagine a 4-year-old child in broccoli, and you're trying to get the 4-year-old kid to eat broccoli, and the kid will throw the broccoli at you, beat you up, do anything with the broccoli but eat the broccoli. That's Greats in PvP. Now watching Greats eat broccoli is a little bizarre for us.
Well, yeah, because
weird.
Poured Velveeta on it. You pour Velveeta on it, and they're going to tell you a piece of crap if you pour Velveeta on it.
And Cash, get in. Cash, get in here. The World v. World thing has got to be. It's amazing to hear about, obviously. But let's talk. Can we talk? The siege weapons alone, added to this World v. World PvP. Is that not absolutely amazing?
The fact that there are siege weapons in there that can be built, and that there's destructible environments, and if you haven't seen any of these from any of the beta footage, just get into. Just go to the Guild Wars 2 website and look at some of the videos of it. And this kind of resonates with what Tara was saying. It's insane to see it.
Yeah.
And to know that every single other avatar that's running around is another person across the world, perhaps. Yeah. And you have the ability to wipe that person off the map for even a few seconds until they respawn. That is the beauty of PvP in a very large scale. And when I look at everything that they've built into the world versus world PvP scenario, this brings me back to the days of Dark Age of Camelot.
Yeah.
Some of those other games where you would get a phone call, or maybe back then a page on your cool pager.
You had a pager?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I wasn't even a drug dealer. Is that amazing? But you get a page, or you'd get a phone call from a buddy at about 1:00 in the morning saying, "Get your ass up. We are being invaded." You know what I mean? It's that type of a thing that really brings more to the PvP in this type of a game, where there's a reason for you to get in there and want to be online. You're protecting your stuff. That's what I love about this.
Kel, I need your opinion on this. World v. Worlds had a really up and down reputation in MMOs. What do you think Guild Wars has got the formula down to make it long lasting, or is this going to be kind of a quick, this is a new shiny, and then we're going to all move on?
Well, as a very, very, very large noob to Guild Wars, I haven't played any Guild Wars games ever.
Yep.
I'm really unsure. I'm going to have to see. I do think that they're doing a lot of things right with PvP from everything I'm hearing from you guys and have heard leading up to this. The only somewhat nagging thing I feel like is, there's... I don't know how many people are going to realize just how accessible and fun this is, because a lot of the people who are really into PvP, or the people who have been looking at this game and been around people who are really into PvP, greats, will realize just how good this is sounding, get really excited. But the people who are not friends with heavy PvPers, the people who aren't PvPing all the time already, and don't realize just how accessible it's going to be, they aren't going to necessarily know about this, because they'll see, oh, Guild Wars, it's a PvP game, big World v. World stuff, that's not really my thing, I don't really like it, so they're not going to be coming in. And if they can't draw in those new players, the thing about this sort of massive combat is you need everyone involved actively all the time. If population starts dropping off, it's not going to be good. So it's going to depend on how well they can keep up the interest.
Yeah, I gotta add to Kel's point. I think Arenanet's goal right now should be making the awareness out there about how accessible their PvP is, because I think a lot of us on the show right now didn't even realize all the little things that they did that made it so you don't have to feel like every other MMO PvP where if you're not geared up, then you're useless. So I think if they're listening, if they can listen, communicate that out. Make sure people are aware that this is a whole different type of PvP, and everybody should just at least try it out to see how accessible they've made PvP.
Well, I think they've had so much success in the past with Guild Wars 1 on PvP. I mean, literally, on NCSoft's store, you could literally just buy for $20 access to Guild Wars 1 PvP, and there were tons of people who did that. Just to PvP on the world, because they had such a good formula down for it. And my hope is that, well, obviously those existing players are going to come over, and I think there's going to be a lot of us just like us who are willing to take another look at Guild Wars 2, and I think that word of mouth is going to be really contagious if it starts working the way it's supposed to. Tara, I got to get back to you a little bit on World v. World. I was so impressed with how they mixed together both the elements of PvE and PvP in there, because I think we were actually once hitting a keep that didn't have any humans on it, but they had these raid type bosses defending it. Is that kind of a cool system to kind of help alleviate in case there's not any other players on? Yeah,
they did. It seems that the AI don't make the same type of stupid human mistakes that I could have hoped for, but so I did get my ass kicked by the AI bots, but
nice.
Yeah. But I still, here's something that games are starting to do now is give you a real reward for participating in PvP, something that's more than bragging rights, which is what I had, that's all I had with like EverQuest, except for like I could loot their money and take one item for a while there. But it lets you progress your character. So it's not like you have to choose between, I'm going to go play PvP and then not excel my character. Another thing that they do to make it more accessible is they boost you up to level 80. So you're not going, level 5. Okay.
They bolster.
5 down, 75 more to go. You can just jump right in as soon as you can get into the main city. So, yeah.
I was impressed. Go.
I'm sorry. It just dawned on me. Level 80, the game starts, and you can go from level 1 to level 80.
Oh yeah!
Wow. That's new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other games have started you out like other games in the past
50.
have started
50,
out to
60.
Right.
60.
Yeah, 50, 60.
Wow. 80.
I said 80.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's
Let's
a
do
lot
80
of
levels.
a lot of longevity. But I did want to make a point on the world PvP. When you talk about a server that's organized, it makes me think about one of the larger guilds in World of Warcraft, AIE. And they basically owned the server they were on because there was so many of them at one point. It was just one guild before WoW broke everybody up or made the guilds to be a little bit smaller. And I'm thinking of how if you had a server full of like-minded people, one guild took over an entire server. That's taking it's not a team anymore. This is a nation, a PvP nation where you just take over a server. That sounds really, really interesting and really, really cool. Even more so, in my opinion, than having the coordinating guilds, which is cool also. But taking over a whole server, and man, that would be awesome.
That sounds like the Mog Nation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Sounds like
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Attaboy.
They're excited.
I know. I love it. For me though, I think the most impressive thing about World PvP that I played in the beta events was, and I would love to have this actual number given to me. So if anyone's got it, email it to us. Do this. Email us at mail@mog-radio.com. That'll be the email that you can send anything for the show at. I want to know how many hit points a door has, because I have never seen 20 characters plus a battering ram spend 5 minutes on a door. It's amazing. Grace, am I wrong?
Oh my god! And I think
I want to know how many hit points it has.
I think I told this story before, but so in the first beta weekend, we were all going up to the door of one of the strongholds or keeps. I'm like, all right, we have there's probably 100 of us, and I kid you not, there's that many. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna take down this door, we're gonna get in. They're like, no, you need a battering ram. I'm like, there's 100 of us. How long can it really? No, you really need a battering ram. Nah, we'll be fine. So we go in, and no one has a battering ram right off the bat. So we start attacking it, and about 3 to 5 minutes later, I'm like, okay, yeah, I think we need a battering ram because it's only like a tenth of a health down.
I think I was there.
Yeah. Well, finally, someone did put up a battering ram, and we took down the door, no problem. But it's like, now I see what you mean.
Yeah. Who needs world bosses when you have doors with lots of hit points?
Well, and it's also that they're making it realistic. Like, it's going to take a lot of people and some equipment to take a door down. I mean, if we look at, even newer source material or newer things that have happened, look at Game of Thrones. Those people didn't walk right in and just start taking doors down. They had to bring the damn thing up there and start banging on it. It's like they were calling the dinner bell, and it's going to have to happen. It's going to have to happen, and I love that. I love that it's not just, we have this many people. Oh, that's great, genius. Do you have any technology with you? Did you bring anything? Oh, okay, well, the guy up there, he's going to pour some boiling oil on you. All right, high five. Everybody why don't you take a step back and let's regroup and figure out what you're going to do. So it's more tactic-oriented than just, the horde running across with the Monty Python music behind them as they're swinging their swords.
Watch out for those rabbits.
Oh, I can't believe you just said that. All right, so there's PvP and combat in a nutshell, kind of how they described it. And I think honestly, on both points, they're right on. I think they're right on mark. Everything that they've been telling you so far in their marketing videos, it's true. I would you guys agree? I think it's pretty true with everything they've been kind of advertising about dynamic combat and the PvP and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, story.
I kind of
Okay, we're not to that yet, Tara. You're getting very excited about story, and we're going to get there. It's the last point we're going to make.
We're getting
Cash,
very excited about it.
She's very excited. She's very excited to condemn it, I think. Cash, go ahead.
It's funny because just watching their videos and particularly this this article on the 4 concepts, you can almost tell that they know they have a winner, but they're being humble about it.
I know.
And I'm not kidding you. I love that because I hate it when you get that feel of elitism from a company that's developing a game is like, hey, come play our game. And I have several examples out there, and I'm not going to cite them. But it's just nice to see that this particular company is just saying, hey, look, this is what we have to offer. You can come and play it if you want. And in the back of your mind, they're kind of just setting it in there without saying it that our game's pretty badass.
Well, and I mean, honestly, though, Cash, you've got it. I think you've really hit the nail on the head here because you watch those videos. It's not hype; it's fact.
Right.
3 out of 4 times. 3 out of 4 times, it's hype, It's fact, not hype. I mean, and you get a lot of people going with the hype in games, and this isn't hype. I think this is what's really gotten such a community excited about it, is because the fact that everything they've talked to you about, you go in the game, you're like, yep, that's about right. Wow, they've got it. It's actually there.
You can say whatever you want to say about your game,
Absolutely.
but then when you get in there and you play the beta, and you're like, yeah, they were right. It's pretty good.
Well, let's go ahead and move on. You'll go ahead.
The only thing I was going to say was when it comes to them, it feels like they're not. When they tell you something, they're not doing it in a braggy way. What they're going is like, look, it's like a geek goes, look what I built. Isn't this awesome? No, come over here and check it out. Go play with it and enjoy it. And then it's with a lot of other game companies, it's like, yeah, I built it. Yeah, you want to pay me every month for it? Come on, shell it out. Okay, you can play with it now.
Arenanet's, well, I think they've done a really cool thing here. You can get, if you are playing Guild Wars 1 right now, you can be, and you have the last expansion, which opens up the Hall of Monuments. You actually, as you have earned and progressed through Guild Wars 1, it will actually unlock for you in-game items for Guild Wars 2. So I guess what I want to talk a little bit about today, guys, and just kind of go around the room is it worth it to do it? There's 53 items, I believe, that you can get to take into your Guild Wars 2 experience, which it's kind of a lot of stuff. What do you guys think about that? I mean, is it worth going back to Guild Wars 1 to take a peek at this?
I was going to ask you, because I know you're doing it, and I've had my finger on the buy button a couple of different times, but I don't know if it's worth it. What do you think?
I'm having fun doing it, but I just want to forewarn everyone. It's going to be a little pricey to do. It's going to probably end up being about $50 for you to pull it off, because you're going to want to have all 3 expansions, and you're going to want to have also the last expansion, which opens up the Hall of Monuments. So that then in the end is going to end up coming to be right around $50 for you to pull that off. So I mean, it's kind of like buying the game again in a weird sense, but. For me, I've actually been having some fun doing it, just because it's Guild Wars 1. So it's like, it's kind of like going back to an old MMO. Let's be honest. It's kind of fun. It's kind of, a sentimental in a weird way for myself. I never really got into the PvE in Guild Wars 1, so I'm just kind of grinding through right now. I'm actually having a good time doing it. It's a good distraction right now while I'm waiting for Guild Wars 2 to come out. And I know there's a lot of people in the Minions of Grinth, which is one of the guilds that we're involved with the show, that are doing it as well. And it's been kind of fun to run into some of them and help and get some help from them in doing it too. So it actually has been kind of fun. It's just there's a little bit of a price tag on the front of it. So I mean, if you're not looking to spend $50, then you might not want to do it. But I believe I was looking at, there's a really cool. I'll put it in the link to the show. There's a calculator that you can go to, and you can start keeping track of all the stuff you've gotten done. So you can see what rewards you'll be getting when you go into Guild Wars 2. It's kind of cool, and you can see all the different items you can get. It's absolutely amazing, some of the item choices. It's a full set of armor. There's like this dragon fire sword that looks just completely cool. And to be honest with you, I don't have the faintest clue if there's any functionality in it. Grace, I feel like I offended you there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have my mic open.
I don't know how functional it's going to be, but I found it, I guess, really honestly, let's discuss this. I think it's pretty cool that they are putting this functionality in their game, saying, hey, if you played the first one and knocked the crap out of it, hey, man, we're going to give you a whole bunch of stuff going into Guild Wars 2. I don't see a lot of MMOs doing that. Do you guys?
No. And I think that last thing you said, I think, is exactly how you should be viewing it. I wouldn't probably suggest anybody to go out and buy all the things when we're so close to the launch of Guild Wars 2 and try to plow through all that. But for all those people that had dedicated their lives to Guild Wars 1, this is such an awesome thing to be doing to kind of incentivize those people and kind of reward them for being supporters of their previous titles.
EverQuest 2 did that for prior EverQuest players.
Yep.
They gave you a legacy title and I believe a weapon that you could use. My question is, are these weapons things that you would end up using early on in the game and you wouldn't take them with you? Or is this something that could last through your Guild Wars 2 experience?
I haven't the faintest clue, to be honest with you. I do not know the answer to that question. I just know there's a lot of freaking items. A lot. And maybe they're just skins to put over existing items. Who knows? Maybe it's just an appearance thing. To be honest with you. Oh, they are?
Yes. They've confirmed on the Hollow Monument stuff that it will be skins that you can put on, but they're going to be usable for every item in the game. So if you get a really high-level sword and you want it to be one of the ones from Guild Wars 2, you can put that skin on there and it's going to look sick. And everybody will know that that's something that you only could have gotten through the Hollow Monuments from Guild Wars 1.
Ooh, yeah. See, that makes it nicer.
Yeah.
What's the grind like, though? What's the grind like? Is it gnarly? Can you pull it off in less than a month?
I don't know. I'll tell you. I'm on my way.
So, Ivan, what exactly? Because I bought Guild Wars 1 today.
No.
Just to play around with it.
You watch your mouth, Grace. What do you need to pull it off? You need all three of the campaign expansions. So you're going to need the very first base Guild Wars 1 set. Then you're going to need factions, the expansion, and then the Nightfall expansion. You can get all three of those for $30 off the trilogy edition. But then you're also going to need to go grab the Eyes of the North, I think it's called, which will open up the Hall of Monuments. And I think that's another $20. So it's going to be right around $50 altogether to do it. I just had some extra cash laying around, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give it a shot. I'm just gonna try doing it and to see if it works. And I don't care how far I get. Because the trick is to get 30 out of 50 achievement points out of all this. And they said you can get all 30 if you do all three of the campaigns. But for me, what it's all about is just trying it, and it's a great diversion for me, because right now I'm kind of my Star Wars: The Old Republic playing has slowed down a little bit. I'm really anticipating Guild Wars 2. It's just kind of a fun way to immerse myself in the world a little bit ahead of time and just kind of have some fun, because it's really not that grindy. It's pretty quick, fast to get through everything. The way they have their quest system set up is just a blast, because as you complete one quest, you just click on the next one and it just guides you down to it, so you can group your quests pretty quick and stuff. But if you get in with a group of people and a good group of people, it's a lot of fun. My only recommendation for you guys is that you start at Nightfall, because that's where they unlocked the heroic companions, and you can gear them up. You can put their gear and customize their gear and things like that. And if you get through Nightfall with a heroic companion and you go into the rest of them, you'll go through a lot quicker, just because you can throw gear that you find on the ground on them, and it'll make them much more effective in the long run.
Well, here's my question for you then, because this is something that I was tooling around with a little bit, and I figured that I would have to talk to you first, so we might as well throw it out on the cast so everybody can hear it. But I already have an account through Arenanet because of my pre-order, but I do not have a Guild Wars 1 account, and I believe it's through NCSoft still, right? Right. How do you link those two? Does it have to be two separate accounts?
Here's the deal. You can create an NCSoft master account, okay? And then if you go to buy Guild Wars 1, you're going to have two options: creating a new account, or you can upgrade an existing account. Okay. And I don't know how I did it, because I had a Guild Wars 2 account, and I had to make a brand new Guild Wars 1 account because the email address I used for my original Guild Wars 1 account it no longer exists. So I had to reinvest into everything, which was no big deal for me. But in the end, they linked themselves. I don't know how I did it somehow, and I'm not sure how I did it. They just kind of linked. I'm like, okay, cool. Perfect. Because that's my first achievement I got, is I linked both. It said my accounts are linked, and it gave me 3 out of my 30 achievement points for that. So it was a really good start for me, and so I've got 3 pieces of the armor set that I can skin over my guy starting day 1 of Guild Wars 2. So I thought it would just be kind of a fun diversion, and I really kind of respect him for this choice, by putting all these different little. There's little in-game pets, little weapon skins and things like that. Just a fun little way to divert yourself, especially if you don't have another game to play right now, and you already have Guild Wars 1 and you haven't completed the campaigns. It's a great way to go. Or if you're a person who's got an extra $50 laying around, snag it up and give it a shot. The thing that's fun for me so far, has been fun for me about this, is seeing the radical differences between the two games. It's absolutely amazing. The way they have pushed forward the IP from the first one to the second one, it just will really blow your mind. Honestly, that's what I think. But yeah, it's been cool so far. I've really kind of enjoyed it. Is anyone else doing it in the group? in the cast right now?
No.
Nope.
I'm doing it right now.
I knew I'd get somebody to come join me. So, so that is kind of a fun little thing to do. And then I'll put the link up. There's actually a calculator. I'll put that link up for everybody to check out. So you can actually see all the little in-game items you can get. Denver, does this sound appealing to you at all?
You know, it's not as big of a deal for me because, again, as I've always said, I'm less concerned about the look than the stats. But if there is something really cool, like I'll have to take a look through all the items. Mm-hmm. If there's something that really, makes me go, oh, I think I might need that, it might be worth doing. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm hardly playing, Star Wars: Old Republic right now. Yeah. I am sort of in a lull in terms of what game I'm playing, and maybe this is a good way to go. I don't know.
Okay, what are you thinking?
My wife played Guild Wars several years ago before I got her into pardon me for those Guild Wars 1 fans, but I got her into proper MMOs. And
my God.
No, thank you. I don't want to live any of that.
Hate mail.
Yes, and that's Oakley at oldrepublicradio.net. You can send that to.
Just go get him, listeners. Go get him.
Dash Radio.
No, actually,
we want to get all the hate mail to Oakley this time.
Yes, all the hate mail going to Oakley. Just go to his Old Republic Radio email account for now, and we'll get you upgraded here soon enough. Oh, yeah. Kel, what are your thoughts on this stuff?
I don't know. Such a noob.
And our resident noob and lead writer, Kalindell, has joined the cast. Fantastic.
It's like,
I don't know. I'm trying.
I just don't know. It's like if you drop me in the middle of a French restaurant and I had do nothing about fine dining or anything, and I'd just be like, toast.
Oh, it's normal for you.
Chipotle.
Hey, fine dining. There you go.
Hey, I know fine dining. I know nothing about Guild Wars 2.
Very good. For those of you who don't know, we are huge fans of Chipotle on all of our podcasts. At least Certas is. Certas, what are your thoughts? What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to ask because I'm actually on their website right now. I have the store open right now, and so I was wondering. I purchased the Platinum Edition. So you're saying that I need the Guild Wars trilogy as well? Yep. And then I'm done?
Yep.
All right, I'll be doing that.
Bam! I got 2. All right, then. So here's what we can look forward to in the coming weeks of the siege up until the game launch. Our progress in trying to grind out these 30 points. I think it's going to be hard to do.
And we will never see Certas or Cash again.
Which you'll hear many Chipotle rappers fall to the ground.
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought this was a really inventive way for them. I mean, because I love how many items they're offering. It's like 53 of them. That's craziness. But I love that. I think it's a really good idea, a really good way of just including the group, including, the Guild Wars 1 faithful, but also to get, those of us who really are kind of waiting for the game to come out, have nothing better to do, just to grab on board and just start playing,
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a good idea. All right, so with that, I think it's very worthwhile to do this if you have the extra $50, or if you've already played Guild Wars for a while, jump in this and do it. I think it's going to be a blast. It's a great diversion while you're waiting for the game. So let's go ahead and move on to dynamic events. This is something that they really want to talk about. World-changing events, big, huge world events, dynamic events just inside the starting worlds alone, public quests and things of that nature. Let's talk a little bit about dynamic events. Does it fit in this world? Is this are they really trying to break the mold here of the average, PvE quest with these dynamic events? Give me your feel on this, everybody. And what are your thoughts on it? Great. You're a PvE guy. What do you think about all this?
I definitely do think they're trying to break the mold. The dynamic events are really nice. It's definitely a way to get away from questing, which I definitely ran them quite a lot to get away from the normal questing and treadmill grind that I've started to grow a little tired of throughout the months lately. But it doesn't feel like it's something very, very special either. You do the dynamics, you save the farmhand, and then 10 minutes later he's being chased again. So it's not one of those world-altering things that makes a difference for the rest of the time. At least as far as I've experienced. Mind you, I've only experienced about till level 10, and that's it for the dynamic. That's the starter area for the humans. So maybe there's something more out there, but I haven't got to it yet.
But isn't the concept of it being, this larger scale where everybody can come and join in, and depending on how many people you have there, the difficulty gets ramped up, and depending on, how when you complete it, everybody gets loot. Everybody gets loot. It's not, this person's taking my mob. As long as you complete it with the group, you complete it. Doesn't that make it better?
I do love the fact that they have those huge epic events, but I think we may have touched on it in the last Guild War, in the Breaking Guild Wars one, and I think Tara did it best. Is okay, so we have this 40, 50 person encounter. Well, when there's only 5 of us, then we start having some issues.
Yeah.
So I love the dynamic events. I love that everyone can participate in them, but I don't think they're without their flaws, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just think they're a nice touch, though, and I think everybody agrees with that when you're just going out grinding quests, when you see them pop up, from at least on the beta, everybody just mobs towards them. And I think it's also a really good thing to kind of force people into grouping. I think it's going to help a lot of people that are maybe going into MMOs, more solo players. It's pushing everybody into one common area, and you may end up finding people to play with that way by all being in that same area. You might see someone doing something cool and going, hey, you want to come quest with me for a little while?
Well, for me, what I run across with dynamic events, what I love about them is the utility of them. Because let's be honest, when you get a game, an MMO that launches, the PvE world is very competitive, and competitive in this way. And I know Tara's talked about this ad nauseum. She's trying to get to a flashy object to collect it to honor one of her collection quests, and she's fighting the mob that's in the way of that, and some other dude comes by and grabs it. Go ahead. Go ahead, Tara.
Or I've professed to be that one person who does it.
Yeah,
I really haven't.
I know.
Yeah, I like that. I like that everybody can join in, and some of the coolest things I've seen in this game come from the dynamic quests or the dynamic events. I saw a gigantic freaking worm sprout out of a lake, spewing purple smoke everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was, people were dying left and right and getting rezzed, and at the end of it up pops this gigantic shining chest with loot for everyone who participated. It was awesome.
It is awesome. I love that about the dynamic events. It goes back to that accessibility point. Oakley, have you ever played a game with the dynamic events in it like that?
Rift is probably the only one I've really experienced. But playing through Rift, it tended to get a little repetitive. But I think with Rift, I think it's different than what Guild Wars is trying to pull off, because with Rift, it was just the rifts. And that was pretty much it. There's no real variety there to a certain extent. But this is, it depends on where you are, what level, all that stuff. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing. When you're playing through the same quest over and over and over and over again, as you play through it gets boring. So dynamic, good.
It kind of I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong here. For those of us who played it in the beta weekends, or Cash, help me out here. It kind of takes the grind out of it, doesn't it?
It takes a grind out of it, and a little bit like I was talking about earlier, just about the accessibility for players. This is a point in Arenanet's direction, because how accessible is it to find these events? Just open up that map. Look at how intuitive.
Here he goes with the map.
I'm telling you, that is the most beautiful map. Okay, I'll say it rivals Skyrim, because Skyrim's map is pretty awesome, but you're talking about two different game types. But when you look at an MMO map, you open that thing up, and you're like, holy shnikes. There is so much happening on that map, and you want to find where one of these dynamic world events are, it shows you right there. And all you got to do is point your little clicky in the clicky direction, and you go right there, and you're going to run into a bunch of other people. You're going to see all these people populating in your face, and you're going to go, okay, I'm going to join this. There's no penalty for grouping. There's no kill stealing. You get the same XP as everybody else. Why would I not sit here and just rape the countryside and get all the same XP these people are when they're helping you down a giant worm that just came out of the ground randomly?
That's blowing purple smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. So, hi, win.
What I love about the dynamic events here, and Paris, I don't know if you've experienced this yet or not, is each dynamic event I've come across, if you break open a big event, there's like 5 or 6 different big events for each one of those.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I kept thinking that they were going to be the same, and then you go back and it's like, oh, now we're doing this. Now it's doing this. And that's awesome. I mean, similar to what we said earlier with like I played Rift, and it was cool to see those dynamic events happening, but this feels so much fresher. I mean, it's doing the same thing, the same purpose, but each time I feel like it's actually just a bigger quest that I'm involved in. I mean, similar to kind of what Star Wars tried to do with the heroic quests, this just seems like just naturally happening heroic quests that everybody can participate in, and it's just, I mean, it just adds such a cool element that when I first was playing through the beta, I was like, oh, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah, it is. It was fun. Kel, what are your feelings on public quests in general?
In general, I like them. I just think we are so used to the traditional way that quests are done that just having something that's like that is such a relief. It's so different and so entertaining. Sometimes MMOs need to break the mold. However, that's a double-edged sword, because if you push it too much and change it too much, it's going to be really uncomfortable for the average player.
Right.
So you always have to temper the innovation with making sure it's still somewhat familiar. And I think that what I've been hearing about what Guild Wars 2 is going to be doing, it's interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
For me, I really like the fact that it maximizes your playtime. I know Grace is a huge fan of maximizing his playtime.
Oh, yes.
And he loves I love the fact that I'm running towards a new event, and an old event I just did a couple of minutes ago says, hey, there's an event nearby. So I'll just detour over there, kill that thing real quick, and on my way there. And it's just, you're constantly gaining experience, constantly gaining currency to trade in with some of the vendors for each dynamic event. I love it. I think it really offers kind of an appeal that you take the time out of looking for group, you take the time out of all that crap. All you've got to do is just go in, play, and have fun. I love that. I think that's an award winner to me.
I actually want to step in real quick.
Get in.
There's one thing that I really enjoyed about this, and this was in the last beta that I noticed this. With all the dynamic events and all the way that you get quests and things like that, they're very centralized, and you can make a path. You can make like a circle, and they're all going to be in that circle. It's not you get these 3 here, and then you're going all the way north, and then all the way south, and then they made it really intuitive and like, no, you don't need to go all over the place and go over hell and gone to do one single quest. Do this event that exists right here within this small little circle right on the map, because Cash is right, it's the best map ever. And then look, what I say? What I say?
Said Cash is right. That's all that mattered.
Exactly. I think you enjoyed that. He enjoyed it more than any of you. So, but no, it was great. It was great. I absolutely loved that, and it just really optimizes your time. To your point, that was another thing for me.
This is the only crew that will probably. I think this is the only Guild Wars 2 podcast that will sit down and probably spend at one point in time spend a half an hour on the map. You know what, man? That map is just awesome. I mean, really, just.
So you saying it's better than the map that Dora uses? I'm just asking.
Yeah, it is. It's better than Dora's map. Trust me. Okay, let's go into story now. Now they're piping up this individualized storyline, and this is where I think there's a little kink in the armor here. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen some really good aspects of this. I've seen some really bad aspects of this. Let's just, Tara, start us off on story.
All right. I think it's maybe something that needs a bit of fine tuning.
Yeah.
And I say this very diplomatically. When I did the first beta weekend, and I was introduced to the story.
Yeah.
The story, which would be 2 animations standing with a pretty little background. That's kind of repetitive. Cutscene.
Yeah.
Not really. I wouldn't even look at that as a cutscene because it's just. I could be watching a sock puppet show and see about the same amount
There
of
it is.
acting.
There it is.
And
It's animated desktop wallpaper.
Wow.
yes,
Diplomacy
that's
is
it.
gone out the
Perfect.
window.
Parasite. Animated desktop wallpaper. That's for
In
cutscenes.
Okay.
Tara's defense here, she's exactly right. So listen up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh my gosh. That wasn't what I was expecting after seeing all of the wonderful combat and everything. And I was like, oh, I bet the cutscene's going to be awesome. I bet the story's going to rock. And it had kind of about the same acting as a late night Cinemax B movie, except the acting wasn't as good for most of the parts.
And there weren't a lot of boobs.
Nah, just, I would like to have my son rescued. Oh, I can do that for you. Okay, I'm going to stay here and drink beer at this tavern while you go do that for me.
I'm going to go do that now.
Greetings, insert name here. I need your help with XYZ quest.
And Kel nailed it right on the head.
You will receive ABC reward.
Well, and that's the thing is, I mean, let's frame this a little more appropriately because it's the human world that we all played first. And when you create your character, to create your dynamic, your individualized story, you have to make some choices. And the human choices are easily some of the most ridiculous choices I've ever seen for a fantasy MMO.
Ever?
You have to pick. Well, what were the ones you have to pick? I have never recovered my sister's body. I always wanted to join the circus.
Personal
And what?
favorite.
I never met my parents. Is
Yeah,
that it?
that's
Right.
it.
Right.
Right.
And you're like, really? I've never joined the circus. I'm a wizard. I'm an elementalist, and I'm worried about becoming a clown.
Yeah.
And that bumps,
Makes no sense.
As
See,
if
and that
that's not
bums-
going to be the choice I make every character I make for humans, because it is.
But you have to
is.
say that
Hey.
the absurdity of doing something like that is different and quote unquote refreshing.
I
Hey,
wouldn't
in a
necessarily say it's refreshing.
in a world full of elementalists and engineers, the clown is the pretty unique flower.
I guess so. But, I mean, that's just weird. But, I've also found, though, as I've started exploring other races, some of the story actually improved.
I agree.
I agree with
okay.
you. I agree with you. Yeah,
Give me
I
your example, Denver. What did you experience?
the last beta weekend, the Asura.
Yeah.
I really
Yes.
liked it. I thought it was significantly better. It seems that they put more time into it. I don't know if it's just the archetypes. It tends to be when you have the human. It's been done so many times. It's really easy to write it. You grew up in a castle, or you grew up in a farmhouse, or you grew up in a dungeon, and it's like, okay, we get it. But when you create something cool like the Asura, that are this brand new, nobody's really seen something quite like this before, at least in an MMO that I remember, that are the ultra smart, very small, they use the power of their mind versus everything else, and it's all about inventions, and it's all about gizmos and gadgets.
Yeah.
You get to write all sorts of new stuff, and I think it just gets the creative juices flowing. It's no different than, I've heard people say that anytime they pick up a Stratocaster to play it, Jimi Hendrix starts, kind of coming out of it. And it's like, well, it's just because that's what you're so used to with that.
Yeah.
So, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I found, too, who are the plant people? The Sylvari, I think, is that what they're called?
yeah.
Yeah. I played their quest line. And there was this one choice about this green knight that you could grab. And I took it, and what it gave me was an instant nemesis for my storyline. I mean, within the first 20 minutes you're playing it, you face off on this guy. He almost kills you, and then he's like, "I'll see you again," and then he's gone. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I really want to see how this plays out," because this guy is just, every time you kill him, he gets back up. He's like, "Let's try that again." You're like, "What? This is horrible." And you know where they got that from is that silly movie, Sean Connery. Anyone remember that movie?
Lost
The
me.
Green Knight? No. Okay. Sir Galahad and the Green Knight. Okay, look it up, everybody who's listening to the show on YouTube. YouTube Sir Galahad and the Green Knight. And
know
trust
what?
me, you guys are all gonna be like, "What the heck have you introduced me to, Ivan? It's horrible."
See, Ivan, this is really where Guild Wars 2 fixed what you just did there, is they added a button that I can push that says skip this conversation.
Yeah.
If only we had one of those for Ivan, then you're exactly right.
Yeah, but see,
my
I
Lord.
thought we learned that from Star Wars: The Old Republic, though. If you every time you hit that space bar, skip this conversation, a developer loses their wings.
Well,
or they're
you know what, though?
In this
Or they're
case-
laid off.
Yeah.
Or they get laid off.
Yeah.
Massive layoffs from the Guild Wars 2 writing team, at least the ones who wrote Humans. Skip.
Well, now, see,
well-
I will say that yes, in the second beta weekend, the additional classes, it was a little bit better, but I was disappointed right off the bat, especially because I'm a big fan of the character creation system, and it just made, once you got to that point where you were choosing those little talismans, or excuse me, I forget the term for them, but
I never joined the circus.
yeah, it bummed me out because it is a rather robust character creation system, and I really enjoyed it. Now, the Sylvari, I will say, my Sylvari Ranger that I played during the second beta weekend was epic looking. I mean, he had a face that looked like a freaking tree trunk, and it was just evil, and he had these druid looking branches coming out of his head, and I'm just like, now that guy is sweet looking. So it was very robust, but if I could just sum up the parts of the story that really could be good, it's cheesy. It's just cheesy, and it bummed me out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna kill me on this game, trust me, because
This
the
is where I
gameplay
think-
and everything else is going to way outweigh the cheesy story. But I probably will be spacebarring much more than I would like.
As we know Arenanet is an American-based company, but they are published through NCSoft, a Korean-based publisher. And I think that the storyline, this individualized epic story, is where I think NCSoft have enforced their will into this game, because
Yeah,
I don't think American developers sit around going, you know what we could do for a really good human option is have them lament they never joined the circus.
I chose that option, and I mean, you start off with one little hacky sack, but then once I got my third one and I had my full juggling abilities, it was pretty amazing.
Oh my god!
He was Parasite was able to
PvP
actually.
juggler?
He was able to finally bring home fruit from the market, and that really helped.
The moment I
come in
got my
here.
clown nose,
Go.
I was just full of tears.
And I recovered my sister's body. What? I'm on a quest for a corpse. I just never got around to it. So you know what?
Is that the
I'm gonna go recover
Frankenstein
that
option?
body. I don't know.
So
I don't know.
She was
I haven't
actually
played
in
it.
my real parents' basement.
I'm actually.
Wow.
that is so cheesy.
Oh man, let's be honest. None of us have gotten very deep into the story, but I mean, obviously, first impressions go a long way. And boy, it's not doing it for me. But I love the fact how Deborah said it. You can get rid of it. You can just skip and just move on, just stay into the action, which is where I think this game really shines, is in the action. Oakley, is I know you just come from Star Wars: The Old Republic. Is story going to be a hit or miss thing with you? Is that going to be a deal breaker if the story's not working out for you?
No, not at all. I think we were really excited about it. In all of the years of ramp up to Star Wars: The Old Republic, but that was different. It was the largest voiceover project ever undertaken in entertainment history, and they really put a lot of their efforts into that, and it's literally like movie quality, acting and stuff. I don't think anybody's expecting that from Guild Wars, because even though they're talking about a story a little bit, but it's more about in conjunction with the dynamic events, where you can save this person, but if you don't, you got to go rescue them, and there's story around that stuff, fine. But anybody listening, don't expect much out of the story. Don't play this for the story.
I kind of see story as a marketing bullet. Like, I mean, any game has their like typical marketing bullets, and story is now, especially with Star Wars, they made that such a big deal with the MMO crowd that I think they just had to say, "Yep, we got story too." But obviously, from everything we talked about at the beginning of this show, it's really about the combat and the PvP and these events, and that's really what's going to hold all the players. And I'm kind of happy with the limited amount of time I have gaming and playing multiple MMOs at the same time. To be able to spacebar and just skip all these cutscenes and just get right into gameplay, I'm fine with that.
Well, here's my
Go
question
ahead,
real quick. we talked a lot about it with Star Wars, but how much of the quests are text based in Guild Wars?
There seems to be a fair amount of the ones that are text based. Those that aren't surrounding your intimate bond experience with the player world are mainly text based.
Okay, well that's good. At least they're not trying to make the whole game around
like
story.
Every single thing. Hey, here's a little acting scene for you, and we're gonna really immerse you in the world.
Yeah,
it'll take up a lot of time. Right? Yeah. Well, I will say this though. I do give them props on. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I do. I will give them props on this. There are story points within the storyline where you do have to make dynamic choices. Do I save this person? Do I not save this person? And that will have everlasting effects down the road on your personalized quest. So what that gives you is the options, actually the really good options of replayability again shows up, because I could pick one whole path and then I could pick a whole another path and then down the same storyline and do it again. So I will give them props on that. Sir, tell us what you have on this.
Well, I was going to say something similar that is, I think it's pretty cool that you start off with a particular quest, and then if you don't make it in time or you don't complete that quest, it graduates to the next logical step. And if I'm listening to the video correctly, it turns into a dynamic event. So now you had a quest, you didn't make it over there in time. Maybe it's it would be awesome if it was like, okay, it's a time. If you don't make it over here by such and such time,
there's some
it's going to keep It's going to keep moving on and keep progressing, which I think is really nice. I don't think it's nice. It is really nice, because in most MMOs, you get a quest. Those people are sitting around waiting on you to show up to kill them. It is okay. Well, I mean, this guy's going to show up one of these days. Let's eat some more Chipotle or something and get in. While we wait on him. But this thing is like we're kidnapping. We're moving on. Now they have to. Now it's tougher because now we're at home and you got to come break through our stronghold to get this person when you could have got them out on the open road. So I think that's pretty cool.
Well, I think what they do really well here is in this game, especially with PvE, and Grace, tell me if I'm wrong on this, they do a really good job of blending instanced and open world type of events. I mean, they really have got that down to a science to where you don't really feel, I think in like other games like Star Wars The Old Republic, you kind of felt when you're doing your story quest removed from the community, whereas in this game, boy, it blends them together pretty well.
Yeah, there's almost a seamless interaction between instanced and non. And the amount of people you can take in, especially for your own personal story, is really amazing too. So I definitely have to give them a great deal of props on doing that. They did an excellent job at it.
So honestly, down the road, if we look at this Kotaku article about their four pillars that they're standing this game on, I'd say about 3.5 of them are. About 3 of them they're standing pretty firm, and the other one they're about halfway there. I mean, I'll give them an A for effort at least. You guys agree with that or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure I'd give him an A for effort, maybe a C or a D, but the effort's there.
Yeah, the stuff that matters they hit on, which I'm happy about.
Yeah.
Well, I guess really in the long run, story. If we focus so much on story that we forget everything else about the game, then we miss. And I'd rather take lighter story.
And story can do an excellent job for the game, but you have to keep it going throughout it, and that's the problem that we've seen happen is. You can't have story throughout the game, but when you get to the end, then all of a sudden there's no story. Now you've lost that pillar that you're standing on.
Yeah.
So you have to support it.
I guess part of me, too, is kind of looking forward to Guild Wars 2 in the sense that I guess I find it oddly refreshing that one of my story arcs is going to be I never joined the circus, as opposed to, well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we just got out of it's like the difference between watching like a freaking romantic comedy and like Braveheart. SWTOR is kind of like that Braveheart epic story, whereas Guild Wars 2 kind of is going to be kind of more. I think it's going to be much more of a lighthearted experience. I guess I'm kind of looking forward to that. It's kind of a lighter. Yeah, I can pay attention to it if I want to, or I can go get a pop or whatever when I don't.
Well, and I mean they're fulfilling my lifelong dream of never being able to join the circus, so I can do that through a character in games. That's better.
And I'm looking forward to fighting my sister's corpse. That's nothing I was ever able to accomplish in real life myself. So,
well, it sounds like to me that the combat, when you guys will talk about the combat and the sieging and the siege weapons, it reminds me of Helm's Deep and Lord of the Rings, and that was such an awesome part of that second movie. So Oh,
Yeah,
see,
I
and
feel like
that's awesome. That's an awesome feeling,
Yeah,
and
you're gonna love
I'm,
it.
if this is what Dark Age of Camelot was like, and they're, it's like this kind of spiritual
Let's
successor.
imagine.
Be awesome.
Let's imagine Dark Age of Camelot with much better graphics and a much smoother gameplay. And that was the first edition of The Siege. Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed the show. Look forward to having things a little more balanced in the weeks to come. We're still kind of getting this thing together and how it's going to look down the long run. But we really look forward to continuing on with this show and supporting Guild Wars 2 the best ways we can. So you never know what our shows are going to have on them, but we'll definitely look forward to us trying to do some different things and have some fun with them. So let's talk about how you can stay in touch with us. If you would like to email the show with any questions, comments, observations about the game, we're always wide open to having those, and we will have a mail segment in the future. Please email to mail@mog-radio.com. Come by our website, mog-radio.com. It's where we do all of our writing. It's where all of our shows post, and you can get our shows early before they end up on iTunes, but you can also check out some of the very talented writers that we have working with us right now, writing about the games that we all love to play. Not just Guild Wars 2, but a lot of different games. Also, come join our gaming community. www.mog-nation.com. This is our community where we all kind of get together and game. I know it's a lot of places to go, but you've got time. Trust me, the game's not out yet. Follow us on Twitter @MogRadio1. Also, follow the Mog Nation on Twitter @MogNationGaming. With that, I'd like to thank you all for coming down to the show. Don't forget to stop by the Mog Nation and compete in Clindel's poll of what character class and profession he will play. We're very excited to see what you guys come up with, and by all means, be creative and mean if you would like. So with that, let's shut down the Siege for this week, and we thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Siege. Bye!